everyone, this is Ellie of Herbcraft by Ellie Apothecary. I hope everyone is doing really well on this summer solstice weekend. This is a timeless channeled message I'm doing today. If you're on the other side of the world, happy winter solstice to you. I was doing what turned into an hour meditation and having a really great engagement with my guides. They've been wanting me to channel more often, and part of being able to provide these messages is also taking care of oneself, enjoying the moment, so you can be available to share such messages. You must be in a place of being able to receive in order to give. A lot of the stuff that came up during meditation was very personal, so I won't get into that, but I felt inspired to try something different. This isn't a tarot quest, so it's not an intentional long-form tarot journey for the collective. It's really a message from Spirit, I think. And I have a candle here that I am going to kind of read with. I also have the archetypes deck in case I want to do a psychic read on them. And just in case I brought my cosmic tarot. I'm working at a different location in my home, so kind of set up to do this on the fly and see what comes up for everyone. This is going to be a new adventure here. I've done other channeled messages, but never with the intention of sitting down at a sacred space and on such a beautiful sacred day as the summer solstice. Now, as a animist pagan, I celebrate for about 4 or 5 days because we have the summer solstice, we have the Celtic Sabbat Letha, which is the second day, which I'm celebrating today, also known as the March of the Fairies. Shout out to anybody in the queer community. It is Pride Month after all, and I am what you would call queer adjacent. I won't go into that, but yeah, if I know you, we can chat about it. Otherwise, I just wanted to give love. If you're interested in the music I'm listening to, it is the Oneness 963 Hertz by Inner Lotus Music on YouTube. I'll probably save it to my sound healing playlist. So I believe the Cosmic Tarot wants to share a few cards with everyone. Because I'm shuffling, I don't even remember picking up the deck, but that's how it goes when you start to channel. You kind of go more to the 5D awareness versus your 3D reality, and anybody who works as a channel understands this. All these messages are going to be for everyone's highest and greatest good. We'll just see what happens, yeah? I'd like to ask everyone take a deep breath, and then I'm going to chime my bell and we will begin. Ready? In. Out. So I'll be celebrating a couple more days. The Germanic solstice is known as midsummer. That's on the 24th typically, and I've briefly talked about it. It's a great day if you are an herbalist, as I am, or a folk practitioner, and you have access to a place to harvest safely with respect to whatever land you are harvesting from. Tradition is at the peak of midday to go and make all your herbal flower food harvests to celebrate the fullness and richness of life. It's a great time for manifesting great abundance. So if you're catching this in real time, for those of you on the other side of the world who are celebrating the winter solstice, it is a great time for rest and doing the opposite, going within, kind of hermit mode, or just really looking at cycles and what you want to bring into your life. You know, looking at what you kind of like, it's like the energies of a new moon versus a full moon, right? So for winter solstice, more full moon energies, and for those of us in the northern hemisphere, more new moon energies, more bringing inward for the summer solstice, what we want to attract to us for the highest and greatest good. And something that Spirit has really been enforcing within me lately is surrender. In the last Tarot Quest 4/4 Angel, we had a lot of emphasis on the Hanged One, the Hanged Man, which is a card of Neptune, of Pisces. And I don't know if y'all know this, but Neptune is actually the higher octave of Venus planetarily, just like Pluto is the higher octave of Mars, etc., etc. I can get into this more another time, but I think a lot of us right now are breaking illusions of love and what love means to each and every one of us. And love across the board. How do we experience love? How do we create? How do we nurture? How do we share our abundance and blessings with others? Interesting. How do we keep ourselves open to love? Queen of Cups in reverse. I felt like she needed to be upright though. Maybe this is a message about transmuting love and open heart spaces. I don't want to get into a full quest, so I'm not going to pull a lot of cards. Again, I'm going from flame reading and maybe a little tarot, and I've got the archetypes deck here, which I'm going to shuffle. How do you celebrate your summer solstice? What are you doing? And if you feel comfortable, what part of the world are you listening in from? I wrote a nice little blog on the community section of my channel here. I hope you'll consider subscribing, because I am building a community, spiritual community here. I am a non-denominational channel, but I am an animist pagan. I shared a really cool meme I found today about 5D consciousness and, you know, the essence of what God is, what Source is. Because I won't go into my beliefs here because I've kind of touched on them before, but, you know, I'm open to having conversations with others in the community, in your own communities, across the board. Receptivity. Is is very important here. Receptivity. Wow, okay. This is such an interesting card. Now, this deck, Archetypes, I've been working with it for about a year now, and I have not studied the cards. I have not read through the guidebook yet. It's actually on my list to do that sometime in the next few months, but everything I read into it's a psychic read, okay? And then if I feel called to, I will mention things from the book. So let's see where this takes us. I pulled the VOW. Card L1D, so I think that's 1004. So synchronistic numbers 1004, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 4, 14, 5, we're talking about the self, we're talking about unlimited possibilities and the ability to change. Creating new foundations. And the VOW, what an interesting card to get for talking about love and open-heartedness. Spirit's briefly channeled through me some of these messages in the last few readings. If you'd like to check those out, go to Divine with me, or you can scroll the community section where I post all the pictures and links for all the quests we have. Have fun. I do hope you'll consider subscribing. And liking this video is a great way to put more of your energy into the readings. I do pick up on that. It's a great way to give back. So thank you if you do. Any way you engage, really, that's positive and beautifully integrated, which I'm getting with this card. Okay, so for those of you that don't know, these are circular oracle cards, and they all have a white border and then a thin black line, and then the artwork on the inside. The L14 or 1004 on the top, the VOW on the bottom, bold black. And then we're going to start here from the outside, going in around the perimeter before it breaks through to the other side. We have the deep orange, sacral energies. We have yellow, solar energies as far as chakra system. And it's interesting because the coloring, it looks like watercolor. This deck is very artistic. I love it for that. Very authentic. Just like me and a lot of you out there. The watercolors are not touching the VOW. The VOW is white background. It's almost like it's pure. It's a part of it because it's within the circle, but it's outside of it. The VOW stands on its own. And there's unity here with multiple hands being held in the center of the card. And there's this black array and impact almost around the hands. At the base of the wrist of one primary hand in the center, there is what looks like a diamond. Round one. I don't know what kind of cut you would call that. I know crystals, but I don't really know gems. You know what I'm saying? It's like the size of a big, gaudy watch face in this image. and this black mass that's behind the hand that's being held by, gosh, I can't really tell how many hands that is. 1, 2, 3, at least, maybe 4. So it's like one daintier hand, and then there's almost these more masculine hands with a black long sleeve cuff on the wrists of a shirt that's holding this more feminine hand that's shooting straight upward, closed fist. Behind the hand is another fingertips coming up behind, very feminine looking, especially with the nails. And these are all just presentations, and of course put it where it fits if this is resonating with you. I like to try to use descriptive audio to help visually impaired people enjoy the experience more. It also allows me to tap into more collective energies that way. So yeah, it looks like 2, and there's possibly another hand behind that. It's hard to tell. So there's many hands, and there's a lot of reach here, and there's a lot of being held, but it could also be almost consumed. Before I get into that, I'll mention there is a fully spread open winged dove, all white, above the hand, soaring towards the sky. There is no sky, but it's the concept of the sky I'm catching. So, very much spirit. Spirit is flying overhead, observing. Goes back to what I was saying the other day about we are not alone, that spirit is always with us, and spirit is the divine. It is our ancestors. It is different aspects of ourselves we have beyond our 3D awareness. It's physical people in our life. It's 5D engagements for those of us that are awakened, who work with energy, understand what I'm talking about. It's a sense of community, of being held, but again, some might almost look at this like suffocating, like they're just being completely consumed by all these hands. So it brings up a lot of the shadow, and this being in the peak of this black mass, it is in the shadow. This feeling of being consumed by others, there's some kind of fear here that creates an impact, and it affects our sacred and our sacredness and our confidence, and what on our deepest level makes us feel secure in a mental, emotional sense, because solar plexus is very much, I always connect it with the mind. In sacral, I very much connect with the emotions, with that deep feminine womb, that knowing. There are 9 black circles crowning the top over the bird, and the black impact is still underneath it, and then it fades into the colors at the top. 9 is a number of graduation and the closing of a cycle, almost completion. We're going to have a lot of conversations about nurturing and maternal energies, and what collectively makes us feel whole and comforted, with Jupiter in Cancer for the next year. Okay, Jupiter's the planet of expansion. It's also the original ruler of Neptune, was originally Jupiter. It rules Pisces, and we were talking about High Priestess energies and Hanged One Neptunian energies, I think, in the last couple readings. There's going to be a lot of emphasis on surrendering, especially with the North Node being in Pisces, and that being our collective energy that we are all working through. It's what we're not comfortable with, what we're not used to, surrendering to the divine. And very much Pisces represents the divine. I always looked at it as the representation of that liminal space between mastering the soul and moving into spirit. The higher octave of Neptune in Pisces is divine love, because again, it's the higher octave of Venus. Venus is also about our values, and we've talked a lot about Venus and the Empress in some of my other work from this year, 2025. Feel free to check out Tarot Talk and Astro Tea for my little Empress series. I know this makes me think of fairness and equality as well, the more Libran side of the Empress, with the hands clasping together, almost like feeling empowered, uniting, coming together, soaring to new heights. And again, the divine God, source, gods, goddesses, deities, they're all, to me, energy. And based on our culture, based on our what feels true to us in our soul, and that's going to be different for every person, is how we practice that connection with the divine. And it's actually better to not be confined, in my opinion, to one structured faith, because the divine is meant to be infinite, it's meant to be limitless, and so are we as divine beings in human form. I've always had a concept of this as a Pisces sun sign myself. I've always had this deep divinity within me. The Queen of Cups here card very much also represents me. I also have a Cancer rising, and I talk about my subjective astrology to help people understand energy. Not a lot of people like to talk about their personal, but I like to lead by example, so that's why I bring it up. If you do have a primary Pisces placement in your chart, or Cancer, which again rules the Queen of Cups card as well, Moon card associations as well, not only because of the North Node in Pisces, but also the Jupiter in Cancer, and we just entered Cancer season, which goes till July 21st this year through July 21st. I'll be releasing July's astro highlights and Luna notes sometime either the last couple days of June or the first couple days of July, so keep an eye out for that. I always do an oracle reading for that as well. Yeah, so this is a strong emphasis on feminine nurturing energies and finding that in our communities, but again, as within, so without. I talk about the laws of the universe, and I talk about how to use manifesting to improve your life. I also talk about emotional regulation and mindfulness and being balanced souls. We go soul deep here. For some of you, you really hold other people up, especially those that are taking action in their divine masculine, holding other people up. Like I said, this card, the VOW, it has that strength behind it, that appearance of I've got you, kind of. And we get other people not just by holding space and being feminine and receptive, but also taking action to be of service to others when we can. And that has nothing to do with appearances, and it has nothing to do with what we're going to receive. And it's also not about being showy or trying to look better than others. It has nothing to do with the ego and everything to do with the soul. When you're called to a spiritual path, you tend to operate in a different way. And the further you go down the spiritual path, the more your consciousness expands. And that spiritual path, again, could be any spiritual path that is not doing harm to others. And it could also be doing harm to others. You know, it's not like I don't see the shadow, I just prefer to work in the light. And it's because I'm very well acquainted with my shadow and what I've integrated that I can hold a light. And this very much is about the dark and the light here, with the yellow and the orange and then the deep black impacting. The strength to stand up for truth, to hold others up, and also hold others accountable here. Makes you a rare gem. But not so rare. Anybody can actually hold this strength, because yet again, this is the second time in the last few months this diamond analogy has come up for me in the collective. That diamonds, while highly desired, are not actually as valuable as people place on it. So again, going back to values and what we value, right? I think I kind of trailed off about Pisces, Cancer energy to finish that thought, and I apologize for the way I get kind of pulled around sometimes with spirit. But anybody who has strong Pisces or Cancer in their chart are going to be stepping up and expanding in a sense of leadership right now. So Pisces, North Node, or Cancer. North Node specifically, I'm sensing, and again, of course, Sun, Moon, rising Venus, Mercury, and Mars placements are all your personal, most central to your soul's journey in this lifetime. And they all have a different impact, and they're all expressed in different ways. Just like people, right? Energies can blend together or they can push apart. That's natural, the expansion and then the consuming, the pressure, the expansion. Think of like a wave going in and out, in and out. Feeling that pull. If you've ever stood like hip deep in the ocean, you feel that pull. You have to let love come in and out of your life like that. You have to accept that the experience is exactly what it was meant to be, when it was meant to be, how it was meant to be, and to let it go. That's how you manifest love. And you have to be comfortable with loving yourself in that way and accepting your ebb and flow, accepting all the little pebbles you may step on in the sand that you didn't think were there, all the little hidden depths that you might suddenly plummet further into, all the shallow, grainy, obnoxious things sticking to your feet when you come out of the tide. You been to the ocean lately? Let me know. Let me know how it was for you. It's been a long time since I've been to the ocean. I honestly miss it. I live in the deep woods, so I still have a beautiful, beautiful place that I get to exist in that I am grateful for every day. But yeah, there's something about that salt water, you know. Meditating on the beach, of course, is a great thing to do right now, especially with the summer, for those of us that are experiencing that. Not really getting much more on the VOW card, except, well, I don't know, I keep coming back to it. I kind of feel like some more cards from the Cosmic Tarot want to come out. Thank you if you're still here. I have no idea how long this is going, so this recording, you're appreciated. I hope you appreciate this bonus message I'm doing. Still plan on doing an epic tarot quest in a couple days, but yeah, this felt appropriate. All right, everybody take another deep breath, please. In Two of Wands. Portal of decisive action. This card has a masculine looking figure standing, chest out, very confident, very proud, one foot slightly towards, hips to the side, very confident, ready, almost looks like they're going to dance or present themselves or bow or do some ballet. I don't know, it's very regal, or at least regal in training. That was for somebody. And then I say portal because there's the two wands and this person is in the center of it. So ready to walk through the portal, crossing the threshold. Oh, I see, crossing the threshold confidently, bravely into love. How do we do this, Spirit? What messages for the collective would you like to share? Princess of Swords in reverse. Get one more card, please. And the Three of Wands. Wow, well that's progression. That's interesting. Manifesting the strength to communicate what you feel for some of you. Because the Two of Wands is also about not just picking a choice, an action, or taking a bold move one way or another. It's also about combining forces to manifest something, partnering possibly with Spirit on a new path. And then over here, the Three of Wands, that's graduating to the manifestations coming in. So usually it's someone standing on a cliff watching their ships come in. This particular one has a feminine appearing woman, which I've described this card before, and she's kneeling in this very sacred yoga pose with her hands above her head. I don't know what pose it is, but it's beautiful. There are lotus blossoms, 3 of them in front of her, and the beautiful bright sun above her. So she's manifested something by making a choice and deciding to not sit back, and again, put the gender where it applies to you, or if you're non-binary, they, them, their, however you identify. So sometimes I'll say genders because it's what I'm reading on the cards, and other times I'll be less descriptive. Anyways, I'm inclusive here. She's manifesting. She's already, again, we talked about Hangman, we talked about surrendering energies. That's another thing. You can get your manifestations tied up and stuck at a pause if you focus too hard on them. And this Two of Wands card, very solidly looking towards what they desire. Well, there's this whole world behind them. There's more to create. There's more action to take. And the Princess of Swords, or the Page of Swords, in reverse is about not watching. Some of you have studied, have waited, have tried to look at things so analytically, and it's time to stop honing in so hard and actually move forward with new plans to manifest. And this could, as far as this having to do with love, Two of Cups in reverse. So as I'm going to read this as I have in the last couple readings or so, as being in union with yourself. And I think it's time to get out of the mind and get into the heart space, to embrace your passions and remember what you have committed to that sets your soul free, that unites you with Spirit, because Two of Cups is also union with Spirit. And when you're in union with Spirit and you're in union with yourself, you can achieve this love in your surroundings, in your community, with other people deeply. as the Queen of Cups represents, that unconditional love. And this is telling someone in the collective that you've learned enough, that you're ready. You already have something here. For some of you, you already have a partnership that is materializing. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. This is the end of a karmic cycle if you choose to get out of your head and make a heart over head decision in this particular case. Let's see what else comes up here. The Fool. This is a new beginning. For some of you, you might be very scared of that. But again, to bring more love into the world and to share your gifts with the world and to create from a place of love, you have to find that within yourself. And you do that by going inward, by connecting on your spiritual path. And again, this is a very heavily spiritual community over here. So if you're still listening to the message, I appreciate your curiosity and you stopping by. But maybe there's something here that you're opening your heart and mind to that you're not quite comfortable with. I do tend to awaken people. Judgment in reverse. I just said I tend to awaken people when we pull the Judgment card. So that confirmed that. Some of you have already gone through an awakening, and some of you are right in the middle of it. And a lot of it has to do with how you love yourself. I think I wrote something the other day, and I'm having trouble remembering it right now, but it was something about by doing the work on ourselves, we actually help raise the vibration of the collective. We actually make a real impact when we pull our energy back from things outside of ourselves that we have no control over, like global events or politics. I mean, there's an extent that we do have an effect, right? But I've noticed that in this world, a lot of people have become stationary in their bodies, but running on hamster wheels in their minds about societal constructs. And when you're in awakening, you start to see the veil shift. You start to see things in different perspectives, like the High Priestess card, right? It's not here on the table, but we're talking about it. Pisces North Node. We're all coming into expanding our faith and understanding the collective more, because Pisces also very much represents the spiritual essence of the collective, because I was beginning to talk about Aquarius, the previous sign, in the last reading in reference to this, and I feel like that thought's kind of coming back through the channel of Aquarius is the community or the community leader. Well, Pisces is like the entire collective, and spirit. Again, it's that bridge between our last level and our new beginning in spirit. Does that make sense? And again, Neptune rules illusions, it rules dreams, it rules beliefs. And we've had this North Node in Pisces since February, so now is the time to embrace this way of being, to discover our spiritual paths. And again, you could be Christian, Buddhist, you could be atheist, you could be agnostic, you could be pagan, you could be any human label you want to put on it. But as I've said before, you know, despite everyone's different constructs and systems and titles we call the energies of the divine, the one thing we all have in common that believe in the divine is faith. And for those of us that, or those of you, I should say, that don't have faith in the divine, I bet you to some extent have faith in yourself, and you yourself are divine. And if you don't believe that, know that your higher self, which is the you that's just slightly more evolved than the you right now, right? Like when you talk about timelines, it's about different energetic frequencies and cycles and phases that you may have access to, and we can just as easily slide back into the old timeline as we can move and be propelled into the future one. And if you're doing the work on yourself, you are propelling yourself into your best timeline. And sometimes this happens quick, sometimes it's slow. But when we're talking about timelines, we're talking about, you know, what other people would call phases in your life, right? Except it's more abstract than that. This is all very quantum and very new to a lot of you. I feel called to pull another card from the Archetypes deck, and then I might end this reading. Yeah, if you like this kind of thing, my Divine With Me playlist has every single reading I do, and then I've got the separate channeled messages playlist. I usually have those in the description box, along with all my links. And yes, I do take readings, personal readings right now, audio recordings, or I have a few over the phone slots for the next few months. Alright, so for that group there, we had, I feel like that's a lot of people can learn from that, is that you have to feel safe and you have to have trust with yourself and feel safe with yourself, and then you start radiating that outside of yourself, right? So in order to have an open heart and open mind, sometimes in awakenings these parts of ourselves are triggered, and it can be extremely uncomfortable and difficult, which is why spiritual guidance can really help you, and that's what this reading is spiritual guidance. Wow, the Mountain. You pulled the Mountain near, I want to say, the beginning of this year, maybe? XXX 111 33 33 3 and 6 Trinity, Divine Unity. This card is a black and white sketched mountain in the center of the card, thick black dense silhouette of forestry trees, the mountain at the bottom, XXX123. At the top, there's a cutout in the top middle peak of the mountain, thick black bold, looks like a masculine figure with their hand on their hip, kind of looking out. Behind them is the orange and yellow colors, so sacral and root, a little bit of yellow solar. The sky behind is a beautiful, like, aurora borealis with pink and magenta as well, so greens, blues, turquoise, teal, lime green, slight yellow. Heavy emphasis on the higher chakras. I'm trying to remember, I think it was the reading The Mountain and the Queen. I don't remember exactly, maybe that was March, but look up the reading The Mountain and the Queen. You might find some relevance in that reading. Remember everything that you obtain within you. To also be an active, observant person, not just a participant, but not an observant, an observer, excuse me. Be an active observer. Pay attention to what's going on below you, and also remember to see the beauty above you and around you. Remember the solid force that you are, that protects you. And when you have a connection with spirit, you realize how they protect you, how they are the mountain, they are the spiritual force. And some people may look at that as an obstacle, like, oh, I have to believe in order to manifest? What the heck? That's how it works. You can't just say something and then bingo. It's just like you got to also follow up with practical steps, right? like this mountain. It's a solid force. It's bringing up we talked about the Five of Pentacles card the other day, and how it's not just a card of lack mindset, it's also the representation of that middle ground between spirit and the 3D world. So the combination of the 3D with the 5D, right? Letting it all encompass you and realizing that we are all a part of it, yet also separate through our egos and our personal 3D experience. We are all the mountain, we are all the vast, beautiful sky, we are all the thick, dense, surrounding forest. We are spirit, we are ourselves. And when you can see the unity and the independence in that, the sovereignty and the unity, perhaps that's what I'll call this reading, the sovereignty and the unity of love within oneself and the divine. Divine love, divine union, divine self, divine other. You will attract that which you seek, that you already have within inside of yourself. In every facet of your life, when you are able to have an open mind enough to have an open heart, you're able to create. When you can create, actually physically create. Again, another thing I talk about is transmuting the energy through creativity. Not just as a life coping mechanism to transmute emotions, but to also continue to spread our heart even more open and be able to receive. It can be really difficult when you've gone through a lot in your life, and most of us have. And of course, people say, you know, it's good to have support systems. Well, a lot of us that are on the spiritual path don't have that support system, and that's what threw us on the spiritual path. And, you know, from somebody who's jaded and not as evolved, they might say, well, you cling to your beliefs because you're scared to face reality. And that's actually the opposite of what it is. And I used to be a jaded, callous person who had to go through a lot to get to the point where I'm at now, in this peace, in this moment, with this connection with spirit. I had to break my ego, my mind. I had to crack open my own heart, and I did it mostly alone. And then I united with spirit through it. So, like, it's not about losing your control to get what you want through the divine. It's about surrendering all concept of control and realize that the divine want to work for you. Again, it comes down to life is happening for me, not to me. Five of Pentacles, again, you can look at it from the perspective of, okay, this is the beginning of the integration of the divine and I melding, becoming in union with each other. Because up past the Five of Pentacles is success, right? It's up to the Ten of Pentacles. It's the ultimate wish fulfillment and our security. To do that, you gain wisdom through union with spirit, working with spirit, and trusting that they are capable of manifesting things on our behalf as much as we are physically capable of acting on things to bring into our life here now. Or you can look at it from a lack mindset. Again, you can look at it as, well, why do I have to give up my sense of self and my ability to do it myself to some thing I can't see? Well, if you can't feel it, now's the time to tap in, meditate, face yourself, start the work. Start easy, start small. There's so many ways to do this. Just start learning. If you're in an awakening, definitely get online and start doing your research. Just put in spiritual awakenings in YouTube or whatever. Or follow my work. I talk about these things a lot, and I'll probably be expanding into it more. I feel like this message is coming to a close. And again, I thank everyone for being here. I might just upload this in a few minutes. We'll see. Or I may get it out the next day. You're all very beautiful, beautiful souls. And I ask you, when I said that to you, how did it make you feel? How about I say it again? You are a beautiful soul. With all your pieces and all your facets and all your different versions of yourself. Say it to yourself. If you feel uncomfortable, say it to yourself. I'm a beautiful soul. And whatever comes up for that, that's how you start the work, right? Whatever comes up to that argues with you, your mind, your ego is going to argue with you. Note that and ask why you feel the way you do. What is it about you that doesn't feel beautiful? And also, what's the first thing you think of when I say beautiful? Is it how you look? Is it how you feel? Is it how you take action? Is it how other people treat you? Or is it how you treat yourself? Alright, collective. I'm sending so many blessings your way this beautiful summer solstice evening. Now I'm going to go put on me some Kevin Kline and watch some Midsummer's Night's Dream, because that is one of my favorite holiday movies to watch this time of year. Some good old Shakespeare. Bye, darlings. It's Ellie. Signing off.